We have been preaching that Protestant America will set up religious laws. Um, For that to happen, church and state have to come together. And for church and state to come together, Protestant America have to go against its own constitution. All right, we have that amendment, freedom of religion, which requires church and state to remain separated. But the Christians in America and maybe religious political people in America want these two powers to come, these two elements to come together, church and state coming together. And when church and state come together, then they can start making religious laws. Like what we have here in a video called 10 Commandments Bill exchange between Representative Talarico and Representative Noble. I guess Representative Noble is asking, they're discussing legislation to require public school classrooms to display the 10 Commandments. So here's this back-to-back sort of like debate between these two representatives. So let's go and watch and hear what they say.
Well, what is the fourth commandment?
Are you referring to my to the way it's written in the bill?
Yes.
Okay, right.
There you go. Remember the Sabbath.
Keep the Sabbath.
Sabbath being here on Saturday.
It's about us being here on Saturday. Is that ironic or what?
So what does it mean to keep the Sabbath holy?
Well, I think it's. You want to get into theology here? I'd love to,
Just
if
curious,
you'd
yeah.
like to. I think it's really important that we take a day of rest. I think God, who founded the world, didn't need rest, and yet He took a day of rest after He did creation. And I think He was a good example to us to take a day of rest, and that is enshrined in our rules in our Constitution, where it says accepting Sunday in our very early documents as a nation.
And so part of keeping the Sabbath holy is not working on the Sabbath?
That is
And what
a
is
day of rest.
the Ten Commandments come from Judaism? What day is the Jewish Sabbath?
It is on Saturday.
And what day is it today?
It is Saturday. Here we are.
The Christian Sabbath is what day?
Sunday, in honor of the day that Jesus rose from the dead.
And we're scheduled to give this bill a final vote on what day of the week?
It's ironic, isn't it?
Would you be willing to postpone your bill so that we're not breaking the Ten Commandments by working on the Jewish or Christian Sabbath?
I love that you said that, because if we had not had your point of order the other day, we would have actually already completed that.
And so, Representative Noble, you're saying that you'd rather tell people to follow the Ten Commandments than follow it yourself?
I would have rather have had this bill passed the other day when it was time. And you know, that's really sad that we are under such a crunch in time now with the end of session. Our Texas forefathers only gave us 160 days to pass bills, and that's where we are in this session.
We as a legislature are about to
140,
force,
I'm sorry, correction.
we as a legislature are about to force every teacher in the state to post the Ten Commandments in their classrooms.
If
Do
they are
members
donated.
of the Texas legislature follow the Ten Commandments?
Is that about the bill?
Your bill is about the Ten Commandments.
Yes, it
I'm
is.
asking, do members of this legislature follow the Ten Commandments?
So again, this bill is about honoring our historical, educational, and judicial heritage with the displaying of the Ten Commandments.
The ninth commandment is thou shalt not bear false witness. Are you aware of any legislators who have lied about anything?
That is, there might be one coming up in a minute if you keep talking. We'll see.
The seventh commandment is thou shalt not commit adultery.
Yes?
Do you think that members of the legislature should focus more on trying to follow the Ten Commandments rather than telling others to follow them?
Maybe they didn't have them posted.
I am, it is, it is incumbent on all of us to follow God's law, and I think that we would be better off if we did.
That's a great segue into my next question, which is, do you think our public schools are missing God?
Again, we are talking about historically what our founding fathers believed.
What I think is the Christian religion does not force other people with different faith backgrounds and different religions to follow their beliefs. For example, the Ten Commandments. God does not force people to keep his law. He enters into a covenant with people who, accept him as their savior. And in that covenant relationship, people choose, and people chose to enter that covenant relationship. God does not force anyone into a relationship with him. That's why in Revelation chapter 3 verse 20, Jesus knocks at the door, and the Bible doesn't say that he opens the door. No, Jesus knock, we open to invite him in to our lives. So now this forcing people to follow your religion is actually satanic, and it is also a Catholic thing. When Catholics, their children are born, they baptize, they have baby baptism. Babies do not have the capacity to make choices for their own selves. No, the parents make the choice for the babies, and because the priests tell them to baptize their children or their babies, and that religion is not a Christian religion. All pagan religions force their people to worship their God. But the Christian religion, no. God comes, he invites, he offers, and we make the choice. God does not play with our choices. He gave us freedom of choice. And that's how it's supposed to be, the Christian religion. I'm going to look at another video. This is CNN. I'm going to see what this representative, the male representative, I think he's Tellerico, I think his name, Representative Tellerico. Let's see why he is opposing this mandate to have the Ten Commandments displayed in public school classrooms. So let's hear him out.
Controversial bill could soon require public school classrooms in Texas to post a copy of the Ten Commandments. The proposal passed the Republican-controlled State House on Sunday, prompting one Democrat to point out what he considered to be legislative hypocrisy. Listen.
What is the fourth commandment?
Keep the Sabbath.
Part of keeping the Sabbath holy is not working on the Sabbath.
That is, yeah.
The Christian Sabbath is what day?
Sunday, in honor of the day that Jesus rose from the dead.
And we're scheduled to give this bill a final vote on what day of the week?
It's ironic, isn't it?
One of the lawmakers in that video, Democratic State Representatives James Tellerico of Texas, is joining us right now. Representative Tellerico, thanks so much for being with us. You're actually, in addition to being a representative, you're a preacher and a former middle school teacher. Explain why you're opposed to having the Ten Commandments posted in public school classrooms in the state of Texas.
Yeah, my granddad was a Baptist preacher in South Texas. I've been going to the same church since I was 2 years old, and I'm now in seminary studying to become a minister myself one day. So my faith means more to me than anything. But I believe that this bill is not only unconstitutional, un-American, but I also think it's deeply unchristian. it not only violates the separation of church and state in this country, but it also violates the core teachings of Christianity. You know, the Apostle Paul said that the Ten Commandments are summed up in one command: love thy neighbor as thyself. The Hindu student who's sitting in a Texas public school classroom is my neighbor. The Sikh student, the Buddhist student, the atheist student who's sitting in a Texas public school classroom is my neighbor. And I'm called to love them as myself, and forcing my religion down their throats through government action is not love.
Representative, as you know, this bill was a priority for Texas's Republican Lieutenant Governor, Dan Patrick. He says, and I'm quoting him now, "By placing the Ten Commandments in our public school classrooms, we ensure students receive the same foundational moral compass as our state and country's forefathers." What's your response to that, Representative? And how is this bill going to impact public education in your state of Texas?
Well, if we wanted to post a foundational document in all of our Texas public school classrooms, I would suggest the Constitution of the United States, which includes the First Amendment, which enshrines the freedom of religion and the freedom from religion. It has the Establishment Clause and the Free Exercise Clause, which we commonly call the separation of church and state. I think we should post that in all of our classrooms so that our students know that everyone is welcome here, regardless of your background, regardless of your faith tradition. You know, it's hard to be different as a kid. I know this because when I was a middle school teacher, I had a special place in my heart for the kids who were left out, for the kids who were bullied. And if you're a Hindu student or a Muslim student or a Jewish student in a Texas public school classroom, you're a little different, and that can be difficult. Now, a bunch of politicians at the state capitol are putting up a poster that says, "Thou shalt not worship any gods before me." We're saying through government action that their religion is inferior, that they are not welcome in this classroom. And I can't imagine anything more un-Christian than that.
Your state's Republican governor, Greg Abbott, said he had...
That was a lot. He said a lot already. True. It's unchristian to force others to join your religion or to follow your beliefs and your, what you call that? Yeah, your faith. Unconstitutional as well. Now, the SDA Church have been preaching this for a long time, saying that one day church and state will come together and Protestant America will bring these two together. I know that people like Representative, what's his name again? Representative Talarico, people like him are going to fight against this union of church and state in each states. But prophecy tells us, according to Revelation 13, the second beast that come out of the ground, Protestant America, will unite church and state, and they will make a religious law. And then after that, people will make their choice whether to keep God's law or man's law, to keep God's Sabbath or man's Sabbath. And after that, once everyone in the world, eventually it's going to be what you call that, international thing. And the world will be divided into two. And God's people will be separated from everyone else. Like what Jesus said, I have other sheep in other folds. They will all come and join this one fold, and they will become one. We will all become one. God's, Jesus, the sheep of, or the flock of Christ in the end. And when people make their final choice, that's when Jesus comes, and he comes back the second time and take his people to heaven. This talk about church and state coming together, you know, even Donald Trump mentioned that. Now I'm looking for that video. Let's see. Here's Forbes breaking news. Let's hear what President Trump have to say about this church and state coming together.
Thank you also to Senior Advisor Pastor Paula White, who has been so incredible. She's been right from the beginning, Paula, right? And we've had like a 94% poll number, and I think Paula got it more than I got it. She's saying, no, I'm telling you, he's a good person. Well, we don't like him. We don't like, I'm telling you, he's done more for us than anybody. Oh, okay. And she got us up to about 94%. And my old friends, they couldn't believe that I got that kind of a number with, you understand? But you have done a great job, and Jenny Korn has done an unbelievable job. Jenny? And you know, they work right out of the White House. They've never done that. That's never been done before. No other president allowed that. I think, you know, they say separation. They say separation between church and state, they told me. I said, all right, let's forget about that for one time. We said, really, the separation? I don't know. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? I'm not sure. But whether there's separation or not, you guys are in the White House where you should be, and you're representing our country. And we're bringing religion back to our country, and it's a big deal.
So there you heard it from the big man himself. He's actually saying forget church and state separation. Paula White is there. She's a religious leader. She's working with him. She's his advisor. And I think they're promoting this idea of bringing church and state together again, especially when he said in those words, we are bringing religion back to America again, like our forefathers. But you know, the forefathers of America, they forced people to keep Sunday. You know, there was, you check out your history, a man kissed his wife on Sunday, and he was punished for that. So that's what happened when you put church and state together. It's ridiculous, but that is what happened in the past, and that is what Protestant America is trying to bring back again. Let me read from Revelation 13. Here in Revelation 13 verse 11 talks about this second beast that comes out of the earth, rises up, coming up out of the earth, which represents Protestant America, looks like a lamb, or it says here, and he had two horns like a lamb, and spake as a dragon. So looks Christian, but sounds satanic. Okay, so you know the idea of wolves in sheep's clothing. This is a wolf, or the wolf in sheep's clothing. Verse 12, he exercises all the power of the first beast before him. That's the beast that came out of the sea. That beast represents the Antichrist. The Antichrist in the past in Western Europe, with church and state power together, this power was able to force people to be baptized, pay penance, indulgence, and all of that. Okay, so the second beast, the lamb-like beast, or Protestant America, exercised all the power of the first beast before him, and he causes the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast. He forces everyone to worship the first beast, or the Antichrist. And I'm going to jump down to verse 16. And he causes, or he forces, all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark. And that's the mark of the beast. And that's another study. But anyways, so we see prophecy being fulfilled in front of our eyes. Before, we Adventists, we used to preach about this and say it's going to happen. But now today we are preaching about it, and we are saying, look, you can watch it. It's happening now. You can see it. You can go on social media, go on YouTube, go on the news, and see prophecy being fulfilled. What does that mean? Well, Jesus said, when you see all these signs taking place, look up, for your redemption draweth nigh. Jesus is coming soon. The end is here. So we are in the end. We're so close So, brothers, be sober, watch and pray. And until next time, peace and God bless.